Did you know that for 10 years, prisoners were secretly fed radioactive oatmeal as breakfast? From 1946 to 1956, 829 inmates at a Michigan prison became unwilling test subjects. MIT, Harvard, and Quaker Oats partnered to study radiation effects on human metabolism. Dr. Robert Harris deliberately targeted mentally disabled prisoners who couldn't understand what was happening. They told inmates they were joining a special science club with better food. Instead, they were being poisoned with radioactive iron and calcium tracers mixed into their daily oatmeal. For a decade, prisoners unknowingly consumed this toxic breakfast while officials covered up mounting evidence. Years later, the horrific truth emerged. Bone cancer, organ failure, and genetic mutations appeared in both the prisoners and their children. The government had sanctioned human experimentation on the most vulnerable people in society, all hidden behind the promise of better meals.
He's the kind of guy that would say, hey baby, let's get away, let's go someplace, where I don't care.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is WD3. This is your Hill Report news break. Well, I'm just minding my own business, scrolling through TikTok, and what do I find? I find that, you learn something new every single day that you're on this earth. I found that the government admitted to feeding children radioactive oatmeal, giving pregnant women radioactive cocktails, giving prisoners radioactive... WTF. What the hell is going on when so many people pay taxes, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and the same citizens are fed and experimented on with radioactive food and cocktails and whatever the hell else? You know what radioactivity will do to you? You know why nuclear power is so cautiously dangerous? Because if that radioactivity gets a hold of your body, it will eat you up alive and burn you from the inside. That is diabolical. I want to know who signed off on this study. I think it said from 1940 something to 19. Who cares? Who was the president during this time? Why would you sign off on an experiment on children, on anybody, with radioactive food? You know people have to eat every single day. Diabolical. Check out these clips if you don't believe me. I know you guys saw the intro, but look at more testimonials of this historical, tragic era of events. We'll be right back.
All right, so here's some history that sounds completely fake, but is very, very real and very, very disturbing. So in the 1940s and 50s, the U.S. government performed top secret experiments on children by feeding them radioactive oatmeal. Let's talk about it. So the government partnered with Quaker Oats at MIT, yes, that Quaker Oats, to see how radioactive nutrients move through the human body. And get this, their test subjects were dozens of developmentally disabled boys from a state-run facility in Massachusetts. Now, they told these boys that they were joining a science club. They even gave them certificates. What they didn't tell them was that they laced all their food with radioactive calcium and radioactive iron. Now, what was the goal of all of this? Well, it was to track how radioactivity was actually absorbed into the bones. And this was done without a single parent's consent. Now, MIT documented the entire thing. The government funded it, and they got away with doing this for decades. Now, the truth of this finally came out 40 years later in the 1990s, and the families ended up suing. MIT and Quaker needed to pay out $1.85 million, which seems insanely low considering what happened. So if somebody ever says that the government won't ever experiment on somebody without their consent, ask them about the MIT Quaker radioactive oatmeal. I'd like to hear in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
We're on our way to meet with a researcher right now who has dedicated her career, decades, to declassifying documents and trying to figure out what exactly happened here in the city of St. Louis and what exactly was in that spray. Across the country, the government conducted secret Cold War experiments in plain sight.
It was so secretive that we're really just now sort of digging out from underneath this to try to understand the scale of it.
And Dr. Lisa Martino-Taylor helped uncover many of them.
We know that they were giving radioactive cocktails to pregnant women. We know that they were feeding radioactive oatmeal to children in state schools. They've admitted to those things, and they won't release the material related to St. Louis.
It's true. American children in state-run institutions like the Fernald School were fed radioactive oatmeal as part of studies by MIT sponsored by the Atomic Energy Commission. You can see some of the documents Dr. Martino-Taylor worked to gather and declassify on MIT letterhead describing experiments on human subjects. The children, some of them orphans, were told they'd be joining a science club. They were promised a quart of milk a day, a trip to a baseball game, to the beach. A copy of the 1994 congressional hearing shows those children, now grown, describing being told the oatmeal was just vitamins and recalling the health problems that followed: lumps on my arms, my stomach. Pregnant women were also unknowingly given radioactive iron at top hospitals in Tennessee and California to study how radiation crossed the placenta, some later reporting miscarriages, illness, or birth defects. A class action lawsuit resulted in a settlement in the 90s.
Do you believe the U.S. government sprayed some kind of radioactive material on the residents of St. Louis?
I believe that they did. There's so much contextual evidence that points that way, and I spent years looking at this.
Hey, what's up, you guys? WD3 Hill Report News Break. Welcome back. You guys are learning something that you probably never knew. You knew about the Tulsa race riots. You knew about the Tuskegee experiments. You knew about little children being fed to alligators. This country has a dark past. This country has a dark history. This country is described in the Bible as the habitation of every evil and hateful caged bird. Terrible stuff. Well, yeah, experimenting and giving people and giving children radioactive. And later on, it came out as time went by that some of those folks had, bad pregnancies, deformed pregnancies, lumps everywhere. Who signed off on this? That's all I would say is, you ever heard of Fukushima? It was all over the news in 2000, I want to say 12, for a lot of you youngsters. 2012, it was probably predicted to be the end of the world when Fukushima, the nuclear power plant in Japan, just went kapooey. It blew up. Who knows why? You look it up yourself. Plenty, 100,000 million documentaries on Fukushima. Why was that so bad? Because of the radioactivity. It even prompted folks to parallel that to the scriptures when it talked about a third of the life in the ocean will die because of this one event, wormwood. What if they fed wormwood to you in your breakfast every morning? Terrible stuff. Look it up yourself. Do you believe that they fed children radioactive oatmeal? It's WD3. It's your Hill Report News Break. You guys comment. Tell me more if you know about this story. I'm just learning about it, and I think it's terrible. We're out.